This is Austin St. John, and you are watching That Hashtag Show. You better pay attention.
The blood of Jesus. It's the blood of Jesus.
Water into wine.
You not believe and he drank it.
You not believe in Jesus?
And he chugged it.
He chugged it.
He didn't die for your sins? Huh? Huh?
He did.
Okay then.
Okay.
God.
He
So
did
you're
that.
gonna-
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. That's horrible.
Hey, Jezzer, I have a question for you. So,
Here we go.
why'd you give up drinking? I heard a rumor.
A rumor. I'm just trying to.
I heard that you're trying to impress
No, I'm just trying
somebody.
To just trying to get my gains.
Who you trying to
look,
impress?
Look at that. That looks
Who you
like.
trying to impress?
Whoa, whoa.
Oh.
God.
Who you trying to impress?
I'm trying to get ready because I want to fight Logan Paul next.
Logan Paul would whoop you.
Probably.
You know who else would whoop you? I don't even want to say on the air.
Probably.
You already know. You already know.
Probably. You really think so? You would?
Logan Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably. He's like 6 something.
Okay, doesn't mean he can fight. Or take a punch.
Did you watch that fight?
No.
His face was a mess, but he was still awake.
He was still awake? All right, cool.
You know who would beat you though? Oh, I don't even want to tell you. I'll tell you off air.
Frank?
All right, then.
Well, for sure he would. But even some of the talent.
Oh, which Jason David Frank? The cyborg Jason David Frank?
No, you're little JD. You're little JDF. Not Jason David Frank. Little Jan David Ferranda. How you guys doing? We are live here at the
We've been
Ranger
live
wrap
for
up.
about
We're gonna
10
be
minutes.
talking. Hey, I was talking, you jabroni. So we're here live talking about the 25th anniversary episode. We're gonna talk about Shattered Grid, and we're gonna talk about suck it up. We're gonna talk about today's episode as well. We also got Matthew Thompson here randomly.
Randomly.
Shout out to fans in
Who's
the
staying?
studio.
If you want to know where he's staying, it's at a pretty nice hotel called the Foxy Inn.
It's pretty swanky,
That's what I
guys. It's pretty swanky.
Oh, now they know.
All right, so we're going to be talking about a lot of Ranger stuff. We got a lot of Ranger stuff to cover, but thanks for joining us. Thank you on your Saturday. I like calling this. This is for the first football Friday, college football. My USC Trojans won. Say right up to the
Did
Trojans.
they? Yeah.
They did. They beat UNLV. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about just everything that's going on in Rangers. Get off your phone and look like a
I'm
professional.
looking for
once
the
in your life, do you
information.
think?
Will you just continue
Once in your
on?
life, do you think?
God, I'm trying to get the information.
This guy. What information about what?
About the first news story that we got.
News story.
Yeah.
Boy.
Oh boy. We have such a jam-packed show, and this guy wants to put news in here.
That's what the show is about. News.
This show's about reviews too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but
all right, so what do you want to review? First and foremost,
What?
thank you for joining us on this lovely Saturday. Like I was
yes,
saying,
yes.
Jezzer's a jabroni.
you're a jabroni.
Let's all ask Jezzer
What?
in the chat
What? What are you
why
gonna
he
ask me in the
stopped.
chat?
You know what? If we play, if they super chat us, I'll give you a great Jezzer story about why he stopped drinking. That's it. If I get a super chat, we'll
I already told
No, I'll give you the
you
real
off
story.
the-
The
I already told
real
you off the
story.
air why
The
I
real
stopped
story.
drinking.
So, guys, let's get into a little bit of news.
Yeah.
Jezzer, what do you got for us?
There's going to be a VIP subscription service for Legacy Wars.
That's news.
And
That
what-
broke it at Power Morphicon,
Yeah,
genius.
we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about it
We
last
haven't
show.
really been able to speak
Yeah.
about it. Well, what details are you be able to share with us that
It's
maybe have new?
It's $20 a month for extra bonuses like shards and coins and boxes. I don't know why we'd want to pay an extra $20 for stuff you can get daily though.
Very true, but that's the problem. You can only get one or blah, 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 a limited amount daily. Most likely, if you do it at 20, they're giving you a larger
Do you
amount.
do you play the game religiously?
I have not.
Hey, do we have any of those codes left?
It might be in one of the bags,
got
but
one
it's
left.
all three. Oh
Yeah,
man, we got
Toku
a
kid.
super chat. Toku
So,
kid.
Jezzer's trying to
No,
impress
that's not.
a
Will you
girl
tell the
on our
real?
show.
sto-
This
Will
is
you
the
tell the
story.
real
This is the
story?
real story.
The real story.
He's
You wanna-
trying to impress a
wanna
girl
tell-
on our
no,
show.
You want to tell the real story?
And if you want to know who that girl is, you can use another super chat and I'll let you know who that is. But he's trying to impress
that's not the story.
a girl
That's
on our
not-
show.
That is not. what
And
I
at
told you.
Morphicon, he did a pelvic thrust like Rick Rude. If you don't know who Rick Rude is, go and Google it.
I did a public. No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
When?
You did it. And then you followed it up with that little
Yeah, the
Soldier Boy dance.
thing, yeah.
I
did
don't
the
remember a
pelvic-
thrust.
You did.
Oh, yeah,
buddy.
yeah, the pelvic
it's on
thrust.
video. It's
I
on
don't
video.
remember.
Pelvic thrust.
If you guys can find the video, put it on THS Hashtag.
Pelvic thrust. I
Pelvic
couldn't believe
thrust.
it.
Elvis?
Pelvic thrust. I don't think that's
You can't even say
They
words.
thrust.
Say words, pronouns, pal.
Pelvic
so
thrust.
that is
What
the
happened?
story. He pelvic thrusted his way to
no,
infamy,
that is not.
and then he tried to Soldier Boy his way out of it. So.
I didn't even know how to do the Soldier Boy.
Well, you looked on the video. We could tell.
No.
We know. Trust me.
I had no idea.
The video tells the story.
Yeah.
We know all about it.
You know, if we go according to just our shirt colors, and if we were Rangers, people would automatically be like, "Oh, red, blue, and
Is that blue?
purple."
Are you colorblind?
My eyes are off. I need one of those
What color
clothes.
do you think it was?
I thought it was like a purple, like a dark.
I could see that, but no.
You're wearing
Yeah, blue.
clearly wearing
Yeah.
purple. So would you pay $20 for Legacy Wars? Yes or no?
Nope.
Why?
Because first off, I suck at the game, and I always lose. Always lose. I gave it to my little godson. He was playing on my account,
Killed
and
him.
then he beat 3 people. I was
Yeah,
like, what
right?
the hell? What am I doing wrong?
don't understand. I'm
He's like 4 years old.
I'm trying to time it out, and I'm like, all right, strategically wait. Oh, he swung, he missed. Now go for it. All of a sudden, pow!
Got
I
in
get
the
hit with a
super
football
chat.
in the face.
You did pelvic thrust as Cookie Face came out. See, he remembers.
I don't think Cookie Face came out that
Cookie
night.
Face came out a little
Oh,
bit.
Cookie Face.
He came out of his
Not.
little turtle shell a little bit. He
That sounds
did.
bad.
He did, though.
No, I don't think that happened.
That did happen. Now the girl that you're trying to impress? Can I say?
That's not the story. That's not the story. I told. Want me to tell the actual story?
No, I don't, because that was the actual story.
That's not the actual.
He was
story.
trying to impress because he didn't know if she was there or not, but he was trying to impress Robin Chan.
Oh, here we go.
That's that's what you said. That's what you said. But he was hoping that she would catch that it would catch his
Catch her
eye,
and it didn't.
and he can
because-
pelvic.
We don't even know
pelvic
what she
thrust
looks
her.
like.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
point.
That's the thing. And then,
So Robin Chan,
now-
if you're watching,
so now
hit up
he's,
Jezzer.
Now he's not drinking. So he can
Jezzer
actually,
Reyes at.
Yeah.
Just kidding. All right, so we got this Legacy War thing. Let's talk about the comic a little bit. We have the Solaris Ranger.
Solar Ranger.
Whatever, Solar Ranger. I could have sworn it was yeah, maybe it is Solar Ranger.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a Solaris Ranger. Are you sure about
Solaris. That's Solaris Knight.
that? Maybe I am thinking of Solaris.
That's
Knight.
Solaris Knight. Yeah. But she's gonna come and she's gonna be part of Beyond the Grid, which is awesome.
Interesting.
I want to see who it is. Do you guys have any idea who who
I
it
don't
might
know. Like we already had one.
be? It has to be. I think it's someone within the universe.
But who could it be?
Do you? Because I
Could it be
think
Matt?
Huh?
That boyfriend?
no.
Kimberly?
That's
It's
a girl.
It's clearly a female.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of that other one that they revealed already.
Dark Ranger.
Yeah,
no, that's
yeah.
that's Heckle.
I know. I said I forgot. I thought we
Yeah.
were talking about. Never mind.
Yeah, it's a girl. You think
For the
it's?
Solaris, I don't know.
Solar Ranger.
Solar Ranger.
Who would it be?
Do you think it's Corone?
No. Well, no. Here's the thing. If you look closely at the helmet, it does resemble Q Ranger.
Okay.
Okay,
So, I think it's somebody completely new.
like 100% new.
100%
Brand
new. Brand new.
That they create. For
Either that, or it's like a younger version of that character, Grace. Grace Sterling, who was the original
Oh,
Red
the
Ranger.
original Red Ranger.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm not sure.
That's what I
We're
would
gonna
like.
find out. We're gonna find out more about this character as Shattered Grid comes to an end.
And beyond.
Beyond the Grid picks it right up in issue 31 with new creative team Marguerite Bennett and her lovely artist. Now, there was a small short preview in the Shattered Grid special issue that came out this week.
Right.
A couple pages that were released.
I think it was one page.
It was 2 pages.
Yeah.
That were released, and that's also if you want to know more about who the Solar Ranger is, like an in-depth thing that they announced at Morphicon. We have a great article up that was written by
You.
No, it was not written by me. It was written by JD actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Believe it or not, I couldn't believe it myself.
Hey,
not
I'm
gonna lie
saying,
to
you
you.
know what I mean?
But it was written by him. He actually listened to the Boom Studio panel, and he pulled out all of the information that he possibly could for that Ranger, and I put it in the chat. So you guys can check that out.
Click it.
All you got to
Click
do
it.
is hit that up, and then.
So read it, put it together. You guys may already know.
Yep.
Yeah.
But speaking of the chat, we have this chat. We have something called the Super Chat feature, and Toku Kid's obviously been using it. What that does is that helps support the show. It also keeps your comments right there so we can read them. As you can see, there's clearly a lot of you in the chat right now.
Yeah.
So your comments just fly by.
Yeah.
So if you want to Super Chat us and let us know what to read, that'll make it a lot easier for us to get to you guys directly. Now, let's go back to the Solar Ranger a little bit in Boom Studios. What are we expecting from this new Ranger team? And we got a little bit of a glimpse of them together in Shattered Grid number 1, I guess the last issue of Shattered Grid.
Yeah.
So, Jezzer, what are you looking forward to with this new team?
I'm looking to see how they work together because a lot of them are from like very, very different seasons.
There it is, Larry Nuba with the pelvic thrust. Hashtag pelvic
Well, the
thrust.
truth is, a lot of them are from teams except for
Dark
one.
Ranger.
Yeah, Dark Ranger and
Ranger Slayer.
yeah, are both. All the rest of them are all from teams that are like their dynamic is very, very clutch. You know, like okay, we all know what our part is to play, etc., etc. Now coming out of that and going into another type of team, where you have some people that are loners or people that don't really fit into a kind of a wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I wonder how that dynamic is going to work out. And I think they will address it because there may be a problem where sometimes someone's going to have to be like, well, who really assigned you leader?
Which one of the
think it'll
characters are you most intrigued in? Like, whose story do you want to hear?
Honestly, and I know I already heard it, but I want to know more. I love the Ranger Slayer.
I knew he was gonna say the Ranger Slayer.
I love the Ranger Slayer.
I'm-
I think she's a
I'm gonna say
badass.
on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Magna
Defender.
Defender.
Did you?
Yeah,
It's true. Yeah,
Magna
yeah.
Defender. Only because first off, it's Mike, and Mike.
I'm watching that series right now. By the way.
like Mike's story, like his strongest story is when he's Magna Defender. Once it's revealed that it was Mike possessed, Mike doesn't really get like
right,
anything,
right.
really anything. So I kind of want to see what happened to Mike after Lost Galaxy. I kind of want to see what happened to the actual actor because he hasn't done
Russell
any
Lawrence?
shows. Yeah, he hasn't done
another
any shows.
another one too that's interesting to me on that team. Look at that. We got another super chat.
Nice.
It's almost like Lost in Space Ranger version.
Okay.
It kind of is. The one that interests me too is I think is Tanya for some reason.
Tanya? Yeah,
Because she seems to me like she should be the leader of that team, realistically.
because
really?
like
Because of her tenure.
uh-huh.
I understand the stuff that Kimberly, the Ranger Slayer, had went through, but I think Tanya is the one that's. But Andros is on that team too. But Andros,
Yeah.
So if you go back and watch Power Rangers in Space, Andros wasn't necessarily the leader. TJ was still the leader.
You think so?
Dude, go back and watch it. Well, I can't wait till we get there on retro.
Well, is it because Andros is kind of like a fish out of water? a
No,
little
it's
bit?
because the one that was calling the shots and one that was keeping the team in check was TJ. So there's definitely episodes where TJ's like, no, we have to do this, or no, we don't trust him. And then everyone else would follow. Like, there's an episode where they finally reveal, they bring Corona on the ship, but she's still in her Astronema costume, and Andros is trying to convince them, like, hey, we're going to take you guys all to Dark Spectre, but we have to be in these chains. And he's like, we'll go along with this, but we don't want to. But he speaks for everybody.
He speaks
So
for, yeah.
TJ is still the leader of that team, regardless.
I like how they didn't. I don't like how they didn't really expand on him taking a step down from that leadership.
I don't think he did though.
You don't
so
think? You don't think at no
No,
point?
Go ahead.
At no point in time he's just like, all right, hands off.
There's never really a point in time that he feels like he's not the leader.
Okay.
Like, regardless that the Red Ranger might be in the middle, it doesn't necessarily, to me, mean that he's the leader.
that why you're wearing
weird.
blue?
Yeah,
No,
is
I'm
that why
wearing
you're
blue
blue?
because I'm wearing blue.
Oh, okay.
And because
I was
today's,
gonna say, like,
today's
that
Ninja Steel episode was
that
around
Preston
the
episode?
Was
Yeah.
it a Preston episode?
But I do think that with TJ, to me, he was a guy, and I know a lot of people look at him being the Blue Ranger as a demotion, and I didn't know this until recently.
Right.
But in Mega Ranger, the actual leader of that team ended up becoming the Black Ranger.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know why they just didn't make TJ the Black Ranger and then have him assume the leadership role eventually again.
Well, they didn't want to do that whole
Because of the
yeah,
race thing. I
yeah.
get that.
No, not that. The changeover from green to black, from turbo, and then like change over from blue to blue.
Nah. I just feel that still TJ to me is still the leader of that team.
Wow,
And
that's
he
interesting.
still feels like the
That's
leader of that
interesting because I remember like way before when we were all laughing about it. You were like, "How? Oh, congratulations, you had a black leader," and then they took it from you, and now you're like, "Oh well, no, he's always still been the leader."
In history of Power Rangers, there's only been 4 Black leaders. 4 Black Red Rangers, I should say.
And we're getting one.
Well, this is including the
yeah.
one that we're getting.
So that's really interesting. How it's like from one moment it was like, what else was the kind of driving force that made you take that stance and say,
Well, the show.
No, I mean like what happened in the show. Was it an episode? In
It was the
particular?
whole thing. If you actually go back and watch, every decision that's made is almost ran through TJ. It's not even. There's even an episode where Cassie and Ashley are fighting, not wanting to do chores on the mega ship. And TJ's the one that's like, no, listen, this is what we all agreed to. This is what we're going to do. And he has to pull each one aside and says, no, like, fine, like, stop fighting. He's the one that's always the peacemaker. He's the one that's in it for the team.
And so the question is also, when this happens, where's Andros and how does he react?
I think that Andros happens to assume the Red Ranger role, but I don't necessarily. He doesn't assume the Red Ranger role because there's been Red Rangers that haven't been the leader before. But like Rocky's one of them.
Yeah.
But I definitely think with Andros, since he was already on the mega ship, he automatically he already knew kind of what was going on. But once TJ got up to speed, I think that we were ready.
Yeah, because
to go.
TJ kind of like learned about the Astro Mega Ship and was kind of fixing things and stuff like that. So that's true.
Okay.
Do you think there's gonna be like a power trip between any one of these Rangers, maybe Andros and the Ranger Slayer?
Do I think it's what?
Like there's gonna be like a
Who assigned you?
Well, no,
Leah?
I don't think so because I don't think there was a power trip between Andros and TJ, and I don't think Andros ever assumed to insert himself as a leader. So I don't think so. But we'll see. I'm really curious to see how Tanya deals with it more, and Mike, because Mike was a leader in his own right. Because Mike was originally the one that pulled the Quasar Saber, not Leo.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he was originally supposed to be the Red Ranger.
But when Mike was Magna Defender, he took a backseat to Leo.
He did because he understood it was Leo's team at that point. This is a lot different because that's nobody's team at this point.
How about Cam? What do you think Cam's
I
role?
think Cam's role is going to be the tech guy, just
The
like
tech
he
guy.
was. And I mean, Cam's a great character, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But recently, it was spotted in the wild. We got the 25th anniversary. Rocky's Red Ranger was spotted in the
clone,
wild.
yeah.
The villain, the evil Red Ranger, was spotted. The action figure in the Super Ninja Steel toy line. Guys, did you guys even see this coming?
No.
No, out of anything that I would have expected, that quick to go ahead and see that toy, with the spikes and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
They must have had it like ready the whole time.
Dude, they had to hold it back until they were waiting for the right moment, and then just like, boom, sell it.
I mean, to be fair, the mold's not any different from like any Red Ranger toy.
No, but I mean, still.
Yeah.
The shields and everything that they put it on. I just...
What did you think of the design of the clone Rangers?
You had to have something that distinguished them from the regular ones.
Yeah.
And that's what they chose. Aesthetically, it wasn't horrible. So I was like, all right, let it be. It could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
We've seen a whole lot worse on Retro recently with the stocking face bad guys. So this is pretty good.
Oh, the Zed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's
also
the Ranger.
it's also a great way to. I mean, it is a great way to distinguish the difference between
The two,
the good and bad when they have to morph into Rangers. We got another super chat. Beyond the Grid, it seems like Suicide Squad. I kind of agree with that.
I said that. I said
Okay.
it was more like,
Ragtag, you wouldn't say that.
I said it was more like Wetworks for me.
Oh, Wetworks, you did say that.
Yeah. Maybe, but the
Because
Suicide.
Wetworks was Image's Suicide Squad, but
I don't know. I don't
they
know.
didn't say
I don't
they're
know about
going.
I
Suicide
don't know that
Squad?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You know what
That's the thing.
it feels more like
Guardians
to me?
of the
Guardians of the
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
Everyone has said that.
Because
and that's why I had to
Suicide
pick
Squad
something
is like
else.
they're kind of forced into that position.
And that's why I said
Yeah.
Wetworks, because Wetworks was they chose to do this
Yeah.
because they knew it was for the betterment of, but they did the things that the other people
Oh, yeah.
couldn't do. And Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know if that's the best one. I get it because space, time travel, close. They're a rogue, ragtag bunch
Yeah,
of people.
yeah.
But the thing is, I feel that this Ranger team will once again do the wet work,
Yeah.
where the other Ranger teams won't. They're like travel through space.
But I don't
and
think
kill
that's their
Hitler
mission.
at
I
this
don't. I
time.
think their mission might be that they're legit lost in space.
I feel that. I think okay.
Why? Because it's those characters that are in
Have
that.
you
In that.
reviewed- Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's those characters that are in that scene together in the comic book, and something happens to the Grid because we
Yeah.
don't technically know.
We don't.
We're going to talk about it more in depth in just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Oh, okay, cool. Alright.
But once we get to that point, but I think that they're kind of just stranded in space.
Yeah.
I personally think.
Okay. Well, we'll
So-
talk about it later. I have a idea, but I don't know.
One thing that a lot of people have been like, I've been reading like a bunch of the Facebook groups, is that if they had that on deck, like that figure ready to go, a lot of people are excited seeing if there's going to be a Master Morpher coming out.
And that's a big toy that would sell ridiculously.
There's a
will
lot of hype
purchase
about
that,
it
like,
right now.
Yeah, dude.
Speaking
Why
of
not?
Master Morpher, exclusively released by JDF to us himself.
The night of.
The night of the,
night of.
anniversary
The night
episode,
of.
JDF sent us a message, and I was like, "Yo, when can we run this?" He was like, "Right now." And we ran that story, and that's the picture that's being used everywhere. I saw it on Power Rangers now, but that's the picture
welcome.
JDF sent us. That is a better look at the Master Morpher. All right, so let's talk about the Master Morpher for a second. Number one, that can obviously convert Tommy into past incarnations.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's also an article that I wrote about it. I wrote about it, so you know it's good.
He was writing about it that night.
I was writing about it
that
that
night.
night.
That
So
night.
my question.
I wrote
has
2
always
articles
been-
about the Master Morpher
Yeah.
at this point.
Like my question has always been, and hopefully maybe your article doesn't answer it. When do you think within a level or
This-
a timeline?
yeah.
That he
So
attains?
I actually think, and I wrote, if anybody goes and reads my dimensions in our Dimensions in Danger review,
answer
I actually talk about how I think it's going to play out, about how he got the Master Morpher, and I think it's going to be, we're going to see that in Soul of the Dragon.
Soul of the Dragon.
I think that we're definitely going to see how he got. So if you check out that article that I just posted right now, that's my exclusive about the Master Morpher and about talking to JDF about it. And if you check out my review that I did, it just released today on that hashtagshow.com. I'll put another link in there. That I have a lot of theories about what I think.
Yeah.
How that's going to play out.
Hassan Ahmed said, "I don't think the Master Morpher is in development right now." I think that's true. Actually, the Master Morpher was a prop maker made it initially for Austin St. John.
Is that right?
Yeah, for the Gold Ranger, Red Ranger kind of like fusion thing.
Oh wow!
So the colors are different now. The little Zeo grid is different now, but it was originally a Gold Ranger Tyrannosaurus Rex Morpher.
Oh wow!
It was, I can't remember the name of the prop maker that did it, but he's getting hit up because pretty much all it is now, it's just the face plates that have to be changed and the green plastic
I
backing.
can slide my coin in. Boom, boom, boom.
And that, like, I've opened up that more.
Well, what they should do when they make the toy, though, they should have the coins, and the coins should have those.
Yeah,
CIDs.
that's the coins. The coins is what's new.
No, but what I'm saying is the coin should have what they call a CID, where it will, when you put it in, it changes the color of the background. Like, see how the background's green?
Yeah.
You put the white one in, it changes the color white. You put the other one in, it changes it like gold or something.
And that's something that they've done that with the new Legacy Zeo Ranger morphers. When you turn that little dial, you can change the color.
I'm
of the
saying
little
instead
LED.
of it, just with every coin.
Yeah.
It just boom.
So let's talk about the Master Morph for just a quick second. I want to spend a little time on this.
BD-15 is the prop maker.
I want to spend a little time on this
Check it
Master
out.
Morpher for a second. So we obviously know it can morph you into previous incarnations. And another article that I wrote, and I don't know if we'll probably get into this deeper as we get into the actual story. Look, now it's another super chat by Brandon McGill. The Master Morpher will sell. I agree with you. I don't think there's any question about that. The Master Morpher will sell. But I did write another article theorizing that the reason why I think Catherine's Morpher looked different is because I think it was a Master Morpher. I think it was a Turbo Master Morpher. So if you look at the article I wrote, and I'm going to try to find, here it is. If you look at the article I wrote, and I'll put a link in there, I put the original key of what her Turbo Morpher looked like, and then I also put what her Morpher ended up being. So you can tell that the key's bigger in her Turbo Morpher, but the key's very different in her regular Morpher.
Yeah.
So what if this is a Master Morpher specifically for Catherine?
Okay.
So,
And do past Rangers have Master Morphers?
do you think that answer or things for it was cut?
What?
Do you think that was cut, or it didn't even make?
Well, we do
it in the
know,
shot?
I do know personally that there was a ton cut from this episode. And you can already tell that. We'll probably talk more about that when we get to the episode, but you can tell that from a lot that's been released already.
Then I don't want to say too much. Then. I want to wait. I want to wait.
So the Master Morphers, yes, they will absolutely sell. I think that they look great. It looks great. At least Tommy's looks great. And any of you fans that collect the Legacy, well, I don't know if it's going to be called Legacy line anymore, but whatever Hasbro's going to come out with, that has to be one of their first things they make. Because I feel like it's easy enough to do, and people will buy it, because right now there's already demand for
I
it.
just love the fact that it's like, where else did you see it but here? You know? Like, where else did you see it but here on the night it actually premiered? You saw it here with us.
Oh, they saw like quickly when he was morphing on the.
But not as clear of
Not
that.
as clear of it. As far as what you see here, there are cosplayers that are staring at this, already trying to go ahead and make their own, and it's because they saw the picture here. I just think that's dope. It's like, hey,
Yes.
where else do you go?
Big shout out to JDF. Thank you so much for sending that our way. We really appreciate it. And he sent a couple other exclusive pictures. You can check those out in that same article as well, and on our Instagram page.
Awesome.
All right, so let's move on to. You want to talk about today's episode?
We could do today's episode first, yeah.
All right, let's talk about today's episode real quick. This is called Love Stings.
I actually enjoyed it. It was kind of fun.
So we all did hear the rumor that Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel was going to start picking up this season, and there's not a ton of episodes left. There's roughly 11 left at this point, maybe 12. But Love Stings was episode 11. This followed Preston on his plight to asking a girl to the dance. They run into a monster that shoots arrows, and whatever they see first is what they fall in love with.
One of the last galactic ninjas.
Yes.
Yes, one of the last galactic ninjas. We also know this is a story that we've seen time after time in different Power Ranger episodes. However, here, I like it. I think it's done quite nicely.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. The episode wasn't. it feels like after the anniversary, this is kind of getting
The tone is
season's
a little
getting
different.
more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Even Victor and Monty
Yeah.
felt like more fun in this.
That was my actually truth of the matter for me. That was the saving grace of the episode. Besides, Preston's storyline. Once Preston figured out about the whole thing about she actually liked him.
Yeah.
And then they cut from that scene, and then they went back to the other Rangers. I was like, oh, I forgot all about them. I did. I really forgot all about them because I was so, like, just in Preston's story. And then when it got to the other ones, oh, yeah, I forgot they got hit by the arrows, too.
One little thing that I did notice, too, is you think there's going to be a little, like, not a fight, but something going on between Haley and
Oh, God.
because he was, like, excited about Valentine's Day, and she was just like giving
just gives him
dog poop, you know.
Yeah.
It's like they're already so comfortable in this in the relationship that they've lost that love and feeling.
Well, here's another question. Remember, we did play a game with Peter when he was on the show.
Yeah.
And it was 2 lies, 1 truth. Mm-hmm. And he did say Haley and Calvin break up.
Yeah.
That was one of them. And then I forgot the other 2. But it's in one of our past episodes. What if he was telling the truth on that? Hey, and also, we saw the dog.
Oh yeah. No, we just after the 25th anniversary show, like watch through that we did, we had Victor and Monty on the show, and Joe was doing a little panel with him, and then you asked them about the dog.
I did. I said, "Where's Cody the dog?"
Yeah, and right next.
And
next episode,
they made a great statement about how it's on this dog farm, whatever.
Yep.
But the dog was actually in this
dog was
episode.
right there.
yeah.
It's almost like they
I really
heard
like
me.
that dog. That's a pretty nice, beautiful dog.
It was just like, for me, it was just like a nod to, oh my God, oh, this is crazy.
I want to talk about some of the highlights for this real quick. I want to talk about that. First of all, this is the 2nd episode for Preston's love interest.
Yep.
She was on episode 9.
Yeah.
And now comes back for episode 11. I kind of like the reoccurring character here.
See, and that's something that we haven't seen from the past few Power Ranger
For the past few
episodes.
Power Ranger eras or seasons, we haven't seen that too much, and it's great to know that we're still expanding the Power Ranger universe as far as their particular universe.
It kind of reminds me.
great.
It kind of reminds me of when Zio and Jason had that girlfriend that he walked
boy.
off
Emily.
the distance with. Is that her name?
Emily, yeah, and Zio.
Yeah.
And also, I personally think Victor got done dirty in this episode.
Oh yeah, that girl was
Man,
messed
dude!
up, dude.
Oh, she's a gold digger. Well,
Time
town.
out. How heavy is
only-
Monty if he gets like?
Dude,
Well, he
the
was here, you
balloons-
saw him.
The balloons? It's so crazy seeing him with all that hair. It's just like a different person, man.
Yeah, totally different
Like,
person. You know what?
completely different person.
Like seeing him in person, it kind of reminded me of like Steve Urkel and Stefan Arkell.
Stefan Arkell, right? Like, yeah, you were like, Stefan? Like, it was.
He went to
but
the
I love it.
television thing.
But how light was he?
I don't know.
One, 2, he is definitely the #1 wingman in the world.
Definitely.
He will do anything to make sure
I want a
his friend
Monty
gets
on my
with a
side.
girlfriend. Exactly.
You got-
That is something, I don't care what's going on. You guys better pay attention to the fact that that is some really like tight bro
You know
stuff.
who-
right there.
When I was
Love.
younger, when we were younger, there was this guy that used to hang out with us, and I'm sure I'm going to bring up a name, you're going to be like, oh shit. But Akram, wasn't he Monty? He even looked like Monty a little bit. He was Monty. But there's this guy that we knew. I'm going to bring a picture of him in next week. Akram.
He was your Monty.
He was our Monty.
Oh, your guys' Monty.
He was our Monty.
He was our Monty.
But he also he didn't drink. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. He didn't
Yeah.
do anything.
Okay.
So he was
Yeah.
our DD for everything.
Yeah,
he was our
definitely.
Monty also.
Actually, we're always saying like how Victor and Monty is a lot like Bulk and Skull. They're a little bit more like
Well, there's more depth.
they're a little
Funny
bit more
enough.
like Gaston and LeFou.
Yes.
That's a great
Yes.
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, he's not super douchey like Gaston was.
Right.
But just the relationship between them is a lot like Gaston and LeFou.
Yeah.
Where it's like this Monty has this respect for Victor to the point where he'll blindly just follow him.
Well, like you said, if you guys didn't see it, like they're just 2 people with ideals and they're passionate about their ideals, and that's what they strive for. Yes, if someone's in the way, well, woe is it to those that are in the way from stopping them from getting what they feel they deserve and want.
I'm very much
I like
looking
them.
forward to seeing how their storyline progresses.
Yeah.
So we're gonna find out where that goes from there. But overall, we saw that Sandy asks Preston out
Yeah,
instead.
she was super enthusiastic too.
Preston turns it down. Eventually, they get that sorted out. He says yes. Happily ever after. The one person that's left in the dust. I almost saw back in the camera distance when they're playing pool. I think I saw Sarah get like a frown, like get really mad.
Really?
There's like a
What?
shot in the background. I wish we had it where you could tell she's like looking over, like like, because I almost thought that Sarah and Preston had like a thing.
Really? I
But-
felt like in
wanted
this.
that.
I felt
You
like in
wanted
this
that,
episode
though.
they might be putting Sarah with Brody. You
It
think
felt
so?
more like that in this
I don't
episode.
understand Brody. Like, I don't get the character.
But this, you have to admit,
Wait,
this
hold on.
episode is the most like.
No, I like this episode a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it for what we've seen in Super Ninja Steel. Ninja Steel in general.
What do you not get about Brody?
Okay, so the villains, they gave him a place to stay. They took him in. You know, he had to work for his keep, but like every kid has to work. And it wasn't slavery. He was treated fairly well.
Okay.
And then he just runs away. And then they just try to bring him back home because they care about him.
He's like he's Star Lord. That's
Because they cared about him?
They did care about
I
him.
thought they wanted him as their weapon.
What weapon? He didn't have any ninja
Wasn't he
steel.
something? Well, so what was
He got the ninja steel later on down the line.
So wait, then that time when they did have him just as a captor,
As an adoptive son.
as an adoptive son.
We had his best friend robot, and wasn't Mick on helping him out too? Like, he was fine. There was no reason.
who do you
didn't have to
do you
leave.
find his brother more interesting than him?
I find his brother. I don't find, honestly, out of those two characters, I don't find. Actually, I want to know more about
Levi.
not Levi. I want to know more about the Yellow Ranger.
Oh yeah.
Like, I like him a lot for some odd
Yeah,
reason. He's like a
I-
soft-spoken dude, but I like him.
I'm gonna say I agree with Isaac. It was kidnapping, Joe.
Was it after his father was gone? Yeah,
He didn't
sure.
say surprise or anything.
They're
He
just his
kidnapped him.
legal guardians.
Legal
for a
guardians.
Short term.
He seemed like he was doing
Oh
fine.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, it did?
All right, guys. What would you rate this week's episode for Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel episode 11?
For the show, I'd give it a 4 for this whole series.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
Actually,
for the
Wow.
series. Yeah.
I agree.
Really, that's a high bar. 4?
Actually, you know what? Whoa, yeah, we're out of 5.
Yeah.
Oh no, this gets about like a 2.5, probably a 3.
Wow, that's a low bar.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna split
I
the difference. I'm
wasn't-
saying
I wasn't-
3.5.
3.5.
3.5.
I
Solid
wasn't
3.5.
with it. Sorry.
All right, so we're gonna move on. What do you guys give it in the chat? You guys always want to know that, so we want to know what you guys give it in the chat. Let us know. But we are gonna move on right here to the Shattered Grid finale.
Yeah.
Anna gives it a 5, by the way.
Nice. Nice.
Mikey gives it a 3. It's not. You're not the prom king if all your people are leaving the group now, Mikey. I don't understand.
Prom King. What is it? Prom King, Prom Lord.
Jared
pick- you
gives
have
it
to
a
pick
4. Nathan Santos, new name here. I haven't seen
Nice,
before.
nice.
Gives it a
Hey,
4.
what's up, Nathan?
But yeah, I mean 3.5 is what I'm gonna give it. Solid 3.5. Layla gives it a 3.5.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Tom gives it a 3.2. I wonder where that 0.2 came from, Tom. Edward gives it a 4.5.
Jason Covey.
Wow,
There's a lot of new
4.5 is a
names in
high
here.
bar. Blackwing gives it a 5 or 4. Megan, wow, it's too fast. Super chat your thing.
Yeah, I'm
'cause
sorry.
it goes
Whoa,
too
whoa,
fast.
whoa, whoa.
All right, so let's talk about the Shattered Grid finale.
Mm-hmm.
Now, number one, everyone talked about the last issue of Shattered Grid, which
Yeah.
was I was gonna say episode issue 30,
Yeah.
which was great. Now let's talk about this one. Now, this book reminded me of one very specific storyline.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
But I'm gonna tell you guys what it is after. However, what did you guys think about it?
It went right into the fight. Just continued exactly where 30 left off. There's a lot of stuff going on. There is even a little. There's even a little cliffhanger, not cliffhanger, where you're like, oh, is he dead? Is he dead? Like, because there's just people dropping left and right, and you didn't. They didn't. It feels like they didn't give you enough time to kind of just digest some of the repercussions of the actual fight. What?
No, keep going.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what my counterpoint for that is.
Okay, and then like the whole Serpentera thing, and
Dude,
I like the new
He can
Zord.
eat a Zord, man.
Yeah, I
Well,
like
it's
the new
cute. I
Zords.
mean, it makes sense though.
It's
Serpentera is
huge.
gigantic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Uh-huh.
What else did you like about this?
I liked how a lot of the.
Matthew Thompson literally walked away because he hasn't read it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Oh, stay away, because we're about to keep going into this. I'm sorry.
I liked
welcome,
how
man.
there are a few characters that you didn't think would get important roles, but they did. Like
Lauren.
No, Lauren. We knew this.
Another super chat. Just ordered Daniel's shirt.
Nice.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Squad
What
up.
is it? Super Mega Force Blue. He had like a pretty big role in during the fight. Yeah.
Oh, Noah.
Okay.
Yeah, Noah. Yeah. And then we got that new Zord. I like the new Zord.
It looked cool.
Yeah.
That was a combination of Hyperforce, Dino Charge,
Ninja Storm.
and Ninja Storm.
Yeah, it was. I felt like it was mostly Hyperforce.
Hyperforce.
It's definitely mostly.
That's another thing too. I'm happy that Hyperforce got there doing this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it felt like they were actually.
But they
important.
didn't really say, "Oh, you guys are Hyperforce. Who are you?"
They did.
They,
They were like, hey, they even said
Hey,
Hyperforce.
Chloe.
We need, hey, Chloe.
Hey,
they knew
Chloe,
who they
yeah.
were, which was kind of cool. Like, imagine it was like if you're just playing an RPG and like you're in the Boom Studios.
Yeah, come on. man.
Imagine how Andre feels right now. It's like
Andre, oh my God,
Another
he had a
super
video.
chat. The point 2 was for the lame cockpit design, says Tom.
Andre had a video about like what happened for him at Polymorphicon and all this stuff, and how like now he's part of the mythos, and he cried.
I did watch the video. He had even.
And it's like, so I know he had to cry for this because I know he was reading him.
Yeah.
He was reading him. He was like, he loved every bit of it, and he said when they told him, "Hey, you're going to be in it," and they wouldn't tell him exactly as to what extent. He was like, "I just can't wait."
His character's not really in.
It was more so
Not
Chloe.
really. It was
More so Chloe.
And then the funny thing is, I'm like, even with that, Jack's character is going to be on Legacy Wars.
Legacy Wars,
I
yeah.
was like,
But he's
whoa.
also in. Jack's character is also in Shattered Grid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
is.
Man, I'm super stoked because let me ask you guys a serious question now, and
Yeah.
this is going to go to you guys in the chat. Do you think at this point now we've been dealing with Shattered Grid for over a year?
Yeah.
Did it live up to the hype? Did it end the way that you wanted it to end? Or is this?
Do you wanna go into the
I
ending?
kind of like talking about this in terms of. I'd also do the Star Wars show here, and I think that like the Last Jedi, I thought it was great.
Right.
But
So I'm
as
saying,
a fan,
I'm
did
thinking
you think that
I'm thinking you didn't like how it.
I did like it?
You did like how it closed off. So we got kind of a
I just want to say something before we get to
yeah.
my counterpoint, and then
Yeah, go for it.
My counterpoint about the whole death thing. I love it because the thing is, what we really got to see was these are the spoils of war. There is no ceremony.
Yeah.
When someone dies on
Keep
the field,
going,
and
keep
you
going.
continue going.
Yeah.
Because they knew what was important, and they pushed for it. I loved how that was told in the story without having to say a word. It was like someone fell, and they were like, they kept
Keep
going.
going.
And it was like that what made it like grounded. It was like, okay, it feels like we're actually losing something. And with it, we can't stand by and watch it. We have to keep going.
I think it's a little easier to be on the sidelines for all of us fans and talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. And credit to Kyle Higgins because it was an ambitious project that he still had to answer to Masters at Saban at the time, now Hasbro, to deal with all this stuff. So, well, I guess Hasbro not really because he was done by then. But realistically, I mean, we just got a comment in here that I just glanced at and it said it was the Legacy War done right. I kind of disagree with that because this is exactly like the Legacy War because you're only focusing on a group of Rangers and everybody else is just in the background.
That's right.
It's
That's
exactly
right.
like the
That's
Legacy
right.
War.
Yeah.
I wish that in a comic book format, kind of like what, I don't know if anybody really remembers this, but maybe you guys do remember it. Do you guys remember like the Infinity War comic book?
Yeah.
And do you remember like when there was a cover with every character on it? And there was, like,
Yeah, the splash page.
yeah, so like people got highlighted. I wish that they would like do what comics do now and they highlight like this is just the battle. This is this team's battle. This is that team's battle. This is their interaction. This is that interaction.
But like, if you just kept cutting.
Kind of like because
page
like
by
Civil
page
War
by
is a
page
great
by
example.
page.
Civil War had X-Men Civil War, Spider-Man Civil War.
Dude.
It actually had the Civil War story, but then it had like did it have Secret Avengers Civil War as well? Like there were different,
Avengers and Avengers.
yeah, a few different Avengers,
No, this is the thing though.
separate miniseries
Yeah,
that
but that's the
happened
thing.
all throughout the big story.
That's the thing though, and even though you're right, we had a whole year to get that done. The thing is, Boom Comics isn't that is it as large as Marvel? Can it
No.
afford to do
It's
that?
not. It's not as large, but I mean, there's definitely creators they could have pulled in for one shots.
Okay. Now,
They
could
didn't have to be a
afford-
whole like issue like miniseries. It could have just been one shots.
So
Could they afford to still do that and then still tell the story? at the
I'm
same
90%
time?
sure they could have because if
No,
you
no,
look
no.
at-
I mean, I'm talking about as time is concerned. If they're putting out the one shot,
don't think it matters.
And telling the story.
Don't think it matters, honestly, because if you look at certain comics now, they'll tell the whole story, and then there will be things that come out in between it that
between
happen
it and
after.
one-shots?
You just have to figure out when it takes.
then
I mean,
that's
look,
what I
Go-Go
want.
Power Rangers happens before all this,
Yeah.
right?
So now they would have had to. You think so? It would have been better. I feel for a fan, as a fan as well. That would have been dope because you give us more comics to actually read.
Well,
Will they
that
continue after
and then
that?
it would have really given you the sense of what the battle was about because there's a lot of characters that didn't really have a place. There's even teams that really didn't do anything.
No, they're right. That's true.
So, let me try to think of a team that really didn't have like anything to do. I mean, did we really see any Lost Galaxy characters?
no, except
I mean,
for
Corone, I guess,
except
maybe?
for Magnet
Corone,
Defender.
Magnet Defender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't really get a touch on any Turbo characters. I guess if you want to count the space characters, but
Yeah.
But that ending.
so yeah, I mean,
Did TJ ever get out?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Remember, he
He's
was in
still
that
floating in space.
No. He was captured.
dead.
He was captured with the
that's
Lightspeed
right, he was.
Yellow. in the cage.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
See, after Shattered Grid, I kind of want to see. I don't know if that's what Beyond the Grid's gonna be, where like everything's falling back into place.
Remember they said things are gonna. Well, we can talk about the ending.
Well, let's go into the Lord Draken's world that he had built.
We have to talk about the ending then.
So we're gonna talk about the whole story. Let's just go through the beats and what did we like, what didn't we like. Let's talk about it.
I liked his world a little bit, and like, you know how they always say that every villain is a hero in their own story. I felt like
that's exactly
like the whole world that he built is what he was picturing in his head.
Well, dude, I mean, that's exactly what it is. When you see him flying,
did this story remind you of anything?
So much with a pocket universe.
Well, it reminded me of Lost.
Did
Oh,
it?
Like
really?
the last season of Lost,
the Flash sideways?
because it was the whole last season of Lost, where it was like this other kind of universe.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it was.
And then they had to like
they had different interactions.
I
Different people were doing
forgot
different
what
things.
story I was thinking of, but it was like, so the villain creates a pocket universe where he is good, and it's like, well, Green Lantern did that at one time, essentially, but not a pocket universe. He just made a city with all the constructs. But it's like the villain does this, so this way, once again, like you said, he can be the hero in his own story. He creates a pocket universe. My thing is, it was kind of cool, where it was like, oh my god, we have like Zach and Trini that were news reporters, and all this stuff.
But that's just like Lost, where they had different kind of
jobs.
jobs,
But they were the people,
Lauren and Jason were teaching.
Exactly, the people that are supposed to be together are still together. I get what you're saying with the Lost thing.
It's
no matter
just
what
like
happens,
Lost.
they're still going to be there.
Yeah.
They are who they are, no matter where they are.
Okay,
and that's the thing.
What did you think about the whole R. Tommy storyline?
The ending was Lost too. It was the Jacob
Yes,
Jack
it was.
battle.
Exactly,
Yeah.
It's
it was.
honestly
It's
that
literally
the
what I
story
thought it was.
parallels Lost,
Really?
like the last season, and then even with them at the command center together talking about the end. That was the ending of Lost.
Ending of Lost. That's
It's
exactly
the exact
it.
ending.
That's why when he said, "What does it remind you of?" and he said, "Oh wait," I was like, "Ah," because I already know. It literally is like Lost.
Yeah, it was the same thing as Lost.
Oh my god! But my thing is, a pocket universe. So now Tommy's lost in this pocket universe because he didn't die. He chose to stay in it. And was it imploding or did it it still exist?
He was getting help. So he got help from the Ranger Slayer to where she shot him with the arrow in 12.
Exactly.
And then he was getting help from the emissaries.
Yes. Now the thing is, well, he wasn't getting help. He was draining power from the emissaries.
Draken was.
Yes, Draken was. Now, I know Tommy shows up, blah, blah, and saves everyone, but Draken ultimately chose to stay in that pocket universe. It didn't implode, it didn't destroy. It exists somewhere between here and the grid. It's almost existing off of the grid still. I think that's going to be some of the big problem that we're going to deal with.
Yeah.
Nathan Santos. The ending was similar to Lost.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was
if you
Lost.
actually look at the way that Tommy, the Green Ranger, was,
Oh my
since
God.
he was already dead in the real
Yeah.
world, that was John Locke.
Yeah.
Like
That
it was
makes
the
sense.
same thing.
It is.
Yeah.
We got another super chat. No Morphin Masters at all. And did they really win? I think they did. This is why I'm so curious about where issue 31 kicks us off.
Okay.
Because we kind of know that the day's kind of saved,
Yeah.
but we're not sure. Like,
I don't. Yeah, like
is
it's very.
Tommy
it's very,
still alive? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
Was that their version of heaven?
Well, we know
Like,
that they said when they reassemble the world, there will be memories that you will lose, etc., etc.
still
Some things
pacing.
did happen, some things did not happen.
My theory-
And it was like, wait a minute, this is literally the speech.
My
from
theory:
Lost,
all the
but
people,
awkward.
all the people that you see at the end in the command center are the ones that died, and that's them saying that, like, hey, we're kind of accepting our fate, and this is why
You're
we're
going
gonna
into. You're translating it back into Lost.
You
Yeah,
are.
it is
He
Lost.
really is.
You're
He
translating
really
back
is.
into Lost.
He turned it right into Lost.
Anyway, we're gonna move on. What did you guys think, though? Let's give another rating to this. Let's give a rating to just this one.
This
issue.
one story. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5.
I'm gonna give it a solid 5.
Yes,
I liked it.
I give it a 5. It was a good. If you want to consider it some level of a standalone,
Yeah.
it was good. It finished up everything that we had throughout there. And how do you end such an epic story? There's no way. No matter what you do, you're not going to make everybody happy.
Yeah, I understand.
No matter what you do, it becomes that whole rule of 10. 4 people are going to love it, 3 people are going to question it, and then you're going to have the other 3 that just completely hate it. That's how it works. And I'm one of the 4 people that loved it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we get a 4.5 from Mikey, the prom king lord, the prom lord.
Lord.
All right, guys, let's move on to what we all just recently witnessed was the anniversary issue, the anniversary episode, the 24th anniversary episode.
Yeah.
Power Rangers Dimensions in Danger. going into this, hearing that story, you would have thought, man, there's a lot of missed opportunities on paper. And by the way, if you looked at our article where we spoiled the whole thing, we legit hit everything on the head.
Everything, man.
Every single thing we talked about.
What were some huge things that they?
The Falcon Zord was in the article.
Okay,
about
what
taking
things
the arrow
that
up to the sky.
that they took out?
That they took out of the episode?
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot that was missing. There was more character interaction.
Uh-huh.
There is going to be an extended cut from what I'm told. So that, be on the lookout for that. I'm sure it's going to hit Netflix or something.
Is that story with Wes gonna happen?
Oh, no. Hey, did you know? All right, so here's a funny story.
That's messed up, though, what you did. That's really wrong.
So the beginning of the season, I told Jezzer that the reason why there was a replacement Yellow Ranger...
No, beginning of last season.
Last
the
season.
beginning of last season in Power Rangers Ninja Steel.
Yeah.
I told Jezzer that the reason that there was a different Yellow Ranger is because the first Yellow Ranger dies in the show. And he's like, what, really? So he's watched the episode, he's like, what, the Yellow Ranger doesn't die? Then I tell him, hey, man, Wes is going to die in this episode.
Yeah.
And legit, like, played it off
I
like
was
the whole
standing
time.
right here, and I'm watching the show, and I'm like, the tone doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, when is the death gonna happen?
If it was something like that was gonna happen, I feel like they would have highlighted more of Wes, so that at the end of it, you
care.
you care about the
There's
loss.
stakes.
So I'm watching, it's like, there's a lot of Tommy. Do you think? Are they gonna switch it up and have Tommy die? What's going on? Are they actually gonna kill someone off? Because this is Nickelodeon. I don't know. And then so it finishes the episode. They all jump into their whole portals, and I was like, God damn it.
That was great. So I told him that Wes was going to die, and he believed it the whole time. Wes did not die. Wes
No,
lives
because
on.
you even said, yeah, Wes is gonna die, and he says, look after my son Sky.
I told him this big elaborate thing, and he totally
And he
did on it.
believed it. Like, I can't believe this is going to happen.
That was good. That was
When
good.
is it happening?
All right, so I do want to talk about this episode for a little bit. Let's talk about some of the highlights, because let's be honest, man, the episode did not suck.
It did
Dude,
not.
no, the episode it is the best episode of Ninja Steel ever. Sorry to say it.
It's a low bar.
But hey, you know what? It's a low bar, but they delivered very high. That's it. To have a low bar and deliver it up here where I expected this, boom, that's amazing. Thank you very much.
There's a few things that I liked about this episode, but on paper, it shouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Because,
No.
And the one thing I haven't really heard from a lot of people, which it sounds like on paper, is that it is a Shattered Grid ripoff.
It is
Yeah,
definitely a Shattered
yeah,
Grid ripoff.
Yeah.
Lord Draven.
But he's a now is he a
Did you ever
villain?
watch the video that we did about the spoiler and it clearly Rose says Lord Draven?
Draven,
Everyone's
yeah.
like, I think he
Yeah.
meant Lord Draken.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we know
no.
what we meant.
Draven.
No, we know what we meant, and you guys were wrong. Sorry.
And even the clone Rangers, that's pretty much straight
Pretty
out
much
of
what he
that's pretty
did,
much
yeah.
straight out of Shattered Grid.
I do think that the extended scenes do include Tommy getting those Clone Rangers, though.
Oh, like recruiting them? Yeah. That would make sense. That would make sense. There's a lot of things that they cut out for time. Do you think there would have been like a whole morphing sequence?
I
that
don't
roll
understand.
call?
One thing I understand traditionalist Power Ranger fans
Yeah.
really like the roll calls. I don't.
You don't like it?
I don't. No,
You didn't.
I feel
You
it takes
didn't,
sense.
you
I feel
didn't
it takes
enjoy
way too
the.
long.
You didn't enjoy the Forever Red one.
It was okay,
Yeah.
but like I didn't need to spend 3 minutes watching a
Yeah.
a whole like
whole
them
series
say,
of
oh,
them.
no, I don't.
And then
need to know
it
that.
feels so much longer than 3 minutes. It really does. You're sitting there, you're just like, okay. After you've seen the three that you love, then you're like, well, why am I still watching all these people? Come on, can we hurry this up? You know, like you want to see more. You want to see more of the episode.
I don't think that was really it wasn't necessary, but the episode shouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Really shouldn't have worked. However, we were here at the Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach. We had a live audience here. Cheering was going on
Yeah.
when all the right moments. It was a great
It,
turnout.
it was actually. I was a little worried about having little commercial breaks in between.
I liked
but
it. It was
actually
good.
it was actually good
It was
because
good for everyone to
because
calm down
everybody
and kind of go over
everybody's
what
just
they
like
saw.
and they're like, hey,
Yeah,
dude,
to talk about
I
what they
mean,
saw. and
I
loved
don't.
it.
The reason I don't like Blackwing likes roll calls. The reason I don't like roll calls, people that complain, oh, it's too short. Well, yeah, get rid of the fucking roll calls. I shouldn't have said that word, but I can't help it. But it's one of those things where it's like, wouldn't the monster just attack everybody if they're just sitting there doing like,
Yeah, well, like I
Red,
said,
Mighty Morphin Blue Ranger?
well, I just grew, and now I'm stepping on you.
But like,
The end.
it doesn't make sense. And imagine
Morph now.
watching at it in comic version where it's like 37 pages
Mm-hmm.
of like
no,
just the roll
it'll
calls.
be one whole page, and it'll just be panel.
Oh,
Like
no,
a bunch
I'm
of-
a guy that does
Ugh.
not like roll calls. However, let's talk about the pluses of this episode. Number one, Tommy's progression as a character.
My God,
This is
man.
something that was lacking in the Super Mega Force team up. Was that Tommy actually has a story? You see
man
that he
in
has
the
a
woods.
family.
He has a kid.
He was with, he ended up with Catherine.
Yep, they
He
were
has a
holding
son
hands.
named JJ. And we're going to get more about that in Soul of the Dragon,
Soul of
which
the
all
Dragon.
makes sense.
Yep.
And I like that they're tying this into the Boom Studios comic.
Well, they should. I mean, it's something
Another
that is
super
being
chat,
back.
guys. Who is Tommy's baby mama? Give me the one.
I mean, they already answered. They answered at the very end. Yeah.
I mean, it's also in canon that Zeo episode where Tommy's an old man and he has
Yeah,
a son that comes
yep.
in.
Oh,
That
okay,
it's Catherine.
okay.
And then one of the other big ones is the Master Morpher.
The Master Morpher. But like another thing that I really liked is they gave Tommy a backstory. They actually they tried to give everybody as much as a character moment as they could.
Yeah.
Wes got a lot of screen time. Coda played his role. We also got Gemma.
Rocky had a few lines.
Rocky
He
had a few
like,
lines, but I
3
feel
lines.
Coda actually had a.
Yeah.
Coda was like, yo, pretty much he added all up. He had a monologue.
But also, if you really take a step back and look at it, when Jason, I was gonna say Jason Font.
Yeah.
When Wes says, Time Force created this special thing that we can go
Yeah.
throughout dimensions, that is an exact reference to Hyperforce.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that makes you feel that, like, yes, that means Hyperforce is
Yes.
1000% in canon, obviously.
Yes, that's right.
And I think that that's a cool little callback to that, and they're tying in all their properties, which I really like.
Does the 3 hooded characters make sense now? Why they chose those 3?
Well, now they showed why
Yes.
they did, yeah.
If I was to add another hooded character in there, I would have probably have added one of the Rangers from the movie.
Oh.
Because that's also another different dimension.
Who do you think they would have chosen?
If you're going for the best Ranger, you got to go for Billy.
Billy.
I would have said JJ, right?
Yeah. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
And
I
then-
would have loved to see him on screen. Like, it was like
Another
what? That would've
great
been
moment was the fight scene, Tommy versus Tommy.
Yeah.
As short as it was, I loved it, but the extended version is even better.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't seen it?
No,
The extended
I-
version.
He
He
where-
starts off as black.
He starts off as black. He gets half of his helmet shattered, and then he morphs into white.
Oh my god!
Or
I haven't
morphs
seen
into
this
red
thing.
and then white.
Yeah.
It's good. Like
I
that extended version.
Yeah. I liked when he turned into white from red, where he's doing a kick in
Flip
the
and
air.
he
Yeah.
turns into yeah.
That was cool.
I thought that was all great.
Why didn't they just play the extended?
Well, then again, it's time restraints.
Yeah.
Well, cut something out of this.
So Amit, the guy that wrote Forever Red, actually, he was going on Twitter. Amit, I can't say his last name. We're trying to get him on this show, by the way. But he said, and I totally didn't even realize this. Every actual scene in that episode was 30 seconds or less.
What?
Actual scene was 30 seconds or less.
No way! Really?
Yeah. So
Think about
How about
it.
the scene on the bridge? That seemed pretty. That
Think
seemed
about
like
it
a
though.
minute.
It
Put,
says
put it
30
together.
seconds.
I want to see now.
Yeah.
I do want to see.
What I wanted to do, I wanted to count all the legendary Power Rangers, how many lines they each had.
How many? Yeah,
Yeah.
because there wasn't a lot.
But it was more than
But there's
Super
so
Mega
many
Force.
people.
Yeah.
But
true.
and also,
There's so many
if
people.
you really think about it, it's also more than Forever Red. Forever Red, if you really think about it, Carter had like 1 line. Leo only had like 2 lines.
Most of the lines came at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know that people love Forever Red, and I do too.
Yeah.
But the only reason I think Forever Red's held in such a high regard is because social media world didn't exist at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll
Yep,
get into that in
yep,
a second.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about what Tom Craven wants to talk about right now. But the whole thing that I thought in Forever Red was that if social media had existed, it wouldn't have been the episode that it was laid out to be.
Yeah.
Because, you would already known who's coming back. You
Yep.
would already know the story. It'd have been a whole different thing. If this episode, if there was no social media and they just did this episode and they put it out there, this episode would have been huge.
Yeah.
Oh, it would have been the biggest thing. It would have been all over the news. Tommy, a favorite Ranger, comes back to Power Rangers. Blah, blah. It would have been a big thing. And then shifting into so many, like, oh my god, man.
Yeah.
I do
That
want
was
to talk
so
about
great.
some of the negatives. Now, I do agree, though, this should have been longer. I talked to JDF about this. We both agree. This
want an hour.
should have been
hour.
a multi-parter.
Yeah.
It should have been an hour and a half TV movie,
Whoa, multi-parter. I like
Yeah.
it.
and then
that
break
way.
it into 3 parts.
Exactly,
like,
because
later on down the
there's
line.
definitely a lot of parts that could be extended. The whole recruiting, the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
like developing of the clone rangers.
True.
The whole like backstory behind the portal jumps.
We got another
Yeah,
super chat,
yeah.
guys. Evil Tommy's acting wasn't great. Good Tommy acting was good. Steve Cardenas waking up was funny.
I think all of them waking up was
I
pretty
think-
funny.
I think
Evil
the Evil
Tommy-
Tommy he was trying to act like a robot, and that came
Yeah.
across well.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was very stoic. He was very robotical. It was just like robotical.
Yeah.
Not a word. But he was very robotic. Where it was just like, I will answer just like this, and
He kind of reminded me of the robot from Filthy, from that Justin Timberlake music video.
Oh god.
That's what those robots look like to me.
Oh, that's
So,
exactly what they look like, dude. Thank
Back
you,
on
man. Ruined it
subject,
for me.
let's get back to the show. I did like the episode overall, but there was some definite missed opportunity. One was it wasn't a multi-part episode. Two was how do you have the Sodarso brothers in an episode and not have them interact whatsoever? It's not even mentioned that they're related, but not even have them say hi to each other. Like, they had no interaction whatsoever. How is that such a missed opportunity?
I did not understand, because that's something that definitely should have been changed. There should have been a moment where, like, some people were all over the internet were saying they want that deja vu moment. They want a flash of, oh my God, you're clearly my, you're clearly my ancestor, or something like that. That would have been great, and it would have connected a lot of things. But they did establish that they're in 2 different dimensions, right?
Yeah.
So how would that work?
How would that work?
Because that was the only flaw. Because I wanted that, and I remember rewatching it, and I was like, they jumped into 2 separate portals.
Yeah, maybe.
They're from 2 different dimensions.
Yeah, maybe if they just looked at each other, just kind of like turned their head a little bit. That's it. Something as simple as
that. Yeah, that would have been cool. And it could have been a funny bit. Like, just,
I don't understand
and then they go on.
How they did that, how they didn't have that kind of correlate. I do like the fact, though, that Tommy and Wes knew each other. Obviously, should have.
Yeah, of course.
From Forever Red.
Of course.
But it is kind of weird. I don't understand how Tommy is a legend in all the dimensions.
That's my thing. I didn't get that. They were like, Tommy, oh yeah, we all know Tommy. How do you know Tommy? This is a different dimension.
Yeah.
I just, no.
I mean,
no.
unless he's that legendary of a ranger where just everybody just knows who he is through the ranger grapevine.
Yeah.
Well, he's
I guess
gone
that could
through
be a thing.
he's been jumping through the grid, saving different dimensions all the time, I guess.
I definitely think that with Tommy, I don't know. I'm not necessarily sure really how. If there's another big reunion episode, I think that I think realistically Jason should be the one that comes back, even though I'm a JDF guy.
Yeah.
Mainly because he's been missing for so long. But I would have loved to see. Oh, the Falcons War. We got to talk about the
Falcons War was great.
Oh my God.
You know what this reminded me of? This reminded me of Iron Man in Avengers.
Oh yeah, taking
Nice.
Where he kind of like guided the the missile.
I mean, dude, my thing was, I don't like the CG Zords, but this was the best use.
What do you want them to do? You want them to
No, I'm saying this is the best use of them ever on the show, using the CG Zords. Because usually I hate it on the show. I hate it with a passion on the show. Don't show me the Zords
What
on
happened
the show.
to the Ninja Zords at the end of season 3?
I don't know yet. I'm not finished with it yet.
What do you mean?
Like when
they get destroyed.
Oh,
no, that was the Thunder Zords.
Yeah, that's
Oh, it
right.
is the Thunder Zords.
I don't know what
Thunder
happened.
Zords,
to
yeah.
the Zords yet.
So I mean, the Falcon Zord can still
We
exist.
got another super chat.
Yeah.
How do they know Rangers now, but not before? How do they know Rangers now, but not before? Who?
I don't know. I'm wondering, like, is it the Tommy?
Oh, well, anyways, but this episode, though, I think highlights exactly what needed to be highlighted. I think the nostalgia was great. At the end, I actually like that there's 3 portals that open, and they all go through their correct dimension.
Yeah.
And this is our first time, at least in show canon, that we actually... Well, I guess this isn't the first time. The first time would be that they reference different dimensions would be RPM when they come back for Samurai. But this is...
I like how the one portal is way bigger than the other 2.
Well, yeah, because it's like 19
Closer.
people that have to go through that one portal. But I personally do think that this was a great cast to have come back. All of them made sense. We got another super chat. Tom Craven, he says, if they did a Sodarso thing, would have worked like they did the DC crossover, how Supergirl thought the Atom looked like her cousin. And I agree.
Okay.
They should have mentioned it somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't understand. That's a missed opportunity. It's a quick line.
It is. It's not a throwaway line. It's actually something that works as fan service. I think they should have done it. A look, comment, something, even a knowing look, it would have to be.
Yeah.
Something like that, and give us something back. Especially as fans, it would have been great, and that would have been fan service that we accept. We give fan service all the time when it comes to Power Rangers. Why not just throw that in?
I think it's also the time constraint. They just didn't.
A time restraint to do this?
Yeah.
No.
No.
But it's not a time restraint.
If they did add it, I think that would have been interesting. If they did add a lot of different things, realistically, is there anything from the show that you want to take out?
Yeah, the scenes at the end where they're like, dun, 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 dun. Cut that out and give me the knowing look. That would have been perfect for me.
Okay,
Where they
all
end
right.
this episode and it's like before the title cards come on, and they're all laughing like, because of Monty falling on whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
They could have cut that scene by 15 seconds and give me a 15-second knowing look or a, you seem familiar. I feel the same. And then they run off. That would have been it for me.
Maybe like episodes, maybe not directly like connected to these, but episodes before and after, they could add a little scene here and there. I mean, they kind of did it with the three hooded characters,
true.
but maybe a little bit more of that on both ends of like like before that episode and after that episode might have helped it a little bit.
Was there any? This is the 25th anniversary episode.
Yeah.
Do you think adding any additional Rangers would have kind of bogged it down in terms of storytelling? That
Yeah,
or
I mean,
do you think that 10 was the right number to bring back?
I think 10 was the right number to bring back. I think adding more, it would.
You have to get a multi-part
yeah,
at that point.
Yeah. I think 10 was actually the. I mean, how many do they have for the 20th anniversary?
10.
10 exactly.
I don't know, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. I think it's 10 though.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it was the perfect amount, perfect number. I mean, they could have done with a little bit less, but I think 10 was good.
Now, going forward, this sets the bar super high for this season.
Yeah.
And also sets the bar decently high for another crossover that were to happen if Beast Morphers does get a crossover, which we're assuming should, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that I think was missing in Power Ranger Seasons is the definite
Crossovers,
team up.
yeah.
So if this sets the bar for that, what is the actual team up that you'd want to see on the next crossover? Now,
In this show or the next series?
the next season.
Oh.
Really think about that. You only get one.
With this team, maybe like RPM.
You want to see Beast Morphers and RPM?
Yeah.
How about you?
You go, and then I'll have mine last.
I think that you do the Sentai episode where it was the Mighty Morphin, Go Buster, Dino Charge, Dino Thunder episode.
Hey,
I mean, it's out there.
They had that with the Go Busters?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
then the footage is already there.
footage is already there, so they already have a monster built in.
Yeah.
They already have all of those teams.
Was that a movie, though?
It was.
Okay, because they
But
don't...
so was the villain in this
this one,
episode.
yeah.
Okay, this was for a movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that if you get the Beast Morphers team up with all the Dino Rangers,
Yeah.
that's a great way to bring Austin St. John back.
okay.
It's a great way to bring a lot of people back.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
my answer would be automatically, I want to cede my time to them. And in the end, in the comments, after this episode is
Ooh,
over,
super
let us know
chat.
exactly who and what you would like to see as far as that team up.
Yeah.
I would love to know.
Definitely,
Because
definitely.
I'm like, I'm probably not the best one to answer, but I know that everybody else watching definitely is.
Yeah.
I would love to know what you guys
Hey,
think.
Blackwing, I'll make you a bet. I'll bet you that they do that team up.
Ooh.
Oh, serious.
I'll bet you they do the
What are you
team up
betting?
I just
What
said.
are you
Yeah.
betting?
If I win, I don't know. I'll let Blackwing call the shots.
Yep, there you go.
Blackwing,
So-
let us know.
The super
Oh,
chat.
you know what? If I win, you officially have to change your name to Ratwing.
Ooh. The audience likes it. Tom Craven says Coda should have said Preston look like Taku.
And if he loses, he has to change his name to that hashtag Schmo.
Oh,
that's fine.
okay. All right, there you go.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, what would you guys rate the episode?
I'm gonna have to give. I gave it a solid 4.
Before?
But the reason I gave it a 4, it's not a 5 because there was some problems.
Mm-hmm.
But I give it a solid 4. I actually do think it was a great anniversary reunion.
Nice.
episode.
Another super chat.
Go Busters, Go.
Hey, I'm just gonna say,
Could I do
Blackwing. I'm not sure you're gonna want to bet. Go back and read the spoilers for the 25th anniversary episode and see how rad I was.
Ooh.
Just saying,
Let's
man.
see. I don't know.
But,
Do you want
hey,
your name
that's
to be
it.
Rat? Do you want your name to be Ratwing from now on?
No, he's gonna be the new throat screwer, but it's gonna be new throat screwer.
Oh.
We haven't seen Throat Screwer in a
haven't
while.
seen
No, we haven't. We haven't.
Nah.
He said deal, though. He said deal. So he's ready for it.
Like a screwdriver.
Screwdriver.
Yeah, like a screwdriver. We're good.
Yeah, he said deal. Blackwing says
All right,
deal.
he said deal.
So that means
He said
That's
deal.
it.
that
All right,
hashtag
that's it.
Schmo versus
What's the timestamp
Ratwing.
on this?
Well, for the whole Go Busters
September
duration.
1st.
No, for the whole Go Buster duration.
No, I'm talking about the timestamp on this video.
Oh
September
yeah,
1st.
September 1st.
Oh, September
Yeah,
1st.
September 1st. The video September 1st. The bet was set. So let's see.
Man, hey, Blackwing. Oh boy.
That's what we should call the episode now. The bet was
Yeah,
set.
just to let you know, if you hadn't read my if you didn't read my article about what was going to happen in the reunion, let's just say that I know things, and I think you messed yourself up.
All right.
Sorry, buddy.
But yeah, I'm excited for that to happen. I'm excited that I'm excited where Power Rangers is right now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Blackwing, I'm going to suggest you read that episode right there, buddy.
But again, I would love to know what you guys think as far as the team up for what's coming up next season. Make sure to leave that in the comments after we're all done here.
All right.
I want to know.
And I do think we will get an extended episode. I have that on good authority that will be coming as well.
Nice.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Great numbers this week. Keep it up. Share this video out to every Power Ranger group you're a part of.
Oh, yeah.
Let's spread the hashtag show love because If you want the first Power Ranger news, you guys know where to come, right here at that hashtag show.
Hey, Joe, who put out that picture first?
We put out that picture thanks to Jason.
Sounds like that
David
sounds about
Frank.
right.
We also were the
Thank
ones that gave you guys the info on the 25th anniversary. But enough about tooting our own horn. But we also do love you guys, and we want you guys to share the latest content, so you guys are the first ones in the know about the Power Ranger stuff. And if you guys do that, you guys already know what happens. You guys become Power Ranger legends yourself. But guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Before we go, though, we may as well just bring in the Henshin group now.
Yeah,
Does that work for
bring in
you?
my Henshin bros.
Producer Nagami, does that work if I bring in the Henshin guys now? Don't go anywhere,
Don't leave.
because we're bringing them in right now.
Come on.
Henshin brothers, take it over.
Henshin Brew.
Oh, I probably can leave my computer here.
Probably a good idea.
Sorry, man.
Oh, what does he have in his
There
hand?
you go. You're good.
Here. Let me get some signatures.
Oh my goodness.
investor's birthday.
Oh,
Money man's birthday.
been hanging out on the side for like the last hour. What up?
All right, you guys, stick around. We're gonna start the show, and like we had that bet going on, and it's gonna happen today for the Kamen Rider build finale. So just stick around for a few minutes, and
I
we'll
can
be
smell
right
it.
back into it. Thank you guys for watching Ranger Wrap Up. We'll be right back with Henshin Hangout. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to keep up to date with everything trending in
geek pop culture.